On March 12, 2025, President Donald Trump's administration enacted a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports, marking a significant escalation in global trade tensions. This sweeping measure affects a broad array of products, from raw metals to finished goods such as nuts, bolts, bulldozer blades, and soda cans. The immediate international response underscores the profound implications of this policy shift. The European Union, EU, reacted swiftly, announcing €26 billion, $28 billion, in counter-tariffs targeting iconic American products, including bourbon whiskey, motorcycles, and boats. These measures are set to commence on April 1, 2025, reflecting the EU's strategy to apply pressure on industries located in key Republican-held states, thereby maximizing political impact without excessively harming European economies. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen criticized the U.S. tariffs as unjustified and detrimental to transatlantic trade relations. She emphasized that such measures introduce uncertainty for businesses and lead to higher consumer prices. The EU's response aims to be swift and proportionate, signaling a willingness to engage in negotiations while standing firm against policies perceived as harmful to global economic stability. The United Kingdom, now outside the EU, expressed deep concern over the U.S. tariffs. British officials underscored the importance of pragmatic negotiations and opposed immediate retaliation, hoping to preserve the potential for an economic agreement with the United States. This stance reflects the UK's delicate position as it seeks to balance its post-Brexit trade relationships. Canada, the largest supplier of imported oil to the U.S., is contemplating its own set of countermeasures. Jonathan Wilkinson, Canada's energy minister, indicated that options under consideration include restricting oil exports to the U.S. or imposing export duties on various products, including energy and minerals. Such measures could have significant repercussions, given the intertwined nature of the U.S. and Canadian energy sectors. Australia, despite earlier expectations of an exemption based on assurances from President Trump, found itself subject to the new tariffs. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese expressed disappointment but cautioned against reciprocal tariffs, labeling them as economic self-harm that could lead to slower growth and higher inflation. Australia's measured response highlights the complexities nations face in addressing protectionist policies without exacerbating economic challenges. Other nations, including Brazil, Mexico, and South Korea, are also grappling with the implications of the U.S. tariffs. These countries, significant exporters of steel and aluminum to the U.S., are exploring various strategies to mitigate the impact on their economies while considering potential retaliatory actions. The U.S. steel industry, represented by various associations, has lauded the tariffs, asserting that they will bolster domestic production and safeguard American jobs. However, this optimism is tempered by concerns from other sectors that rely on imported metals, fearing increased costs and supply chain disruptions. The broader economic implications remain a subject of intense debate among economists and industry experts. Financial markets have reacted negatively to the escalating trade tensions. U.S. stocks have experienced significant declines, with valuations shedding over $4 trillion in recent weeks. Investors are wary of a potential trade war that could stifle global economic growth and introduce volatility into markets already sensitive to geopolitical developments. The historical context of these tariffs is noteworthy. Similar measures in 2018 led to a series of retaliatory actions affecting various sectors and straining international relations. The current situation appears to be a resurgence of protectionist policies, prompting concerns about a repeat of past economic disruptions. The World Trade Organization, WTO, may become a central arena for resolving these disputes. The EU and other affected nations are likely to challenge the U.S. tariffs through formal channels, arguing that such measures violate established international trade agreements. The outcomes of these proceedings could have lasting implications for the global trade framework. Domestically, the U.S. administration maintains that the tariffs are essential for national security and the revitalization of critical industries. President Trump has framed the policy as a fulfillment of campaign promises to protect American workers and reduce trade deficits. However, critics argue that the tariffs may lead to higher consumer prices and strain relationships with key allies. In the political arena, reactions are divided. Some lawmakers support the tariffs as a necessary step to address unfair trade practices, while others caution against potential economic fallout and advocate for more targeted measures. The debate reflects broader ideological divides over globalization and economic nationalism. Businesses across various sectors are bracing for the impact. Manufacturers that rely on imported steel and aluminum may face increased production costs, which could be passed on to consumers. Conversely, domestic producers of these metals might experience a surge in demand, potentially leading to expansion and job creation. The net effect on the economy remains uncertain and will likely vary across industries. Consumers could see price increases in products ranging from automobiles to canned goods. The extent of these hikes will depend on how much of the increased costs businesses decide to absorb versus pass on. Inflationary pressures could emerge if widespread price increases occur, influencing monetary policy decisions in the coming months. Internationally, the tariffs risk triggering a cycle of retaliation that could hamper global trade. As countries impose counter tariffs, the cost of goods could rise, supply chains could be disrupted, and economic growth could slow. The interdependent nature of modern economies means that trade barriers in one region can have ripple effects worldwide. Diplomatic relations are also at stake. Allies affected by the tariffs may reassess their strategic partnerships with the U.S., seeking new alliances or strengthening existing ones to counterbalance American policies. Such shifts could alter geopolitical dynamics and influence future collaborations on issues ranging from security to climate change.